being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh,
thank
wait.
you.
Oh, we got somebody at the door. Wait a minute. We got some tricks up our sleeves. Oh, shoot. Yeah. Yes.
What's up, everybody? How exciting. Oh, my goodness.
Come on in,
I didn't
Pastor
expect so
Adam.
many awesome people in here. Hello, everybody. Okay. Sit down. Corey,
Welcome to the anniversary episode of Beyond the Letter. This feels so good right now. If you're watching on audio, we have a live audience here. We have Pastor Adam, who has no idea what's about to happen, and that feels so good.
No clue. That's out of my comfort zone. Believe it or not, I just had a friend who's like an executive coach, and he just sent me like this like executive coach personality test thing that they do with like corporate CEOs. It just happened last night, and he's like, I did the test thing. He's like, your greatest fear is being out of control. Like that's like the number one fear is like not knowing what's next.
So for the next 2 hours, you're gonna have to lean into that.
Right.
Yeah. So what are you feeling right now? What you thinking right now?
Oh man, I feel happy. I feel excited. I appreciate everybody's hard work that put into this. Not just today, but put into the show and this podcast, and then all those who are sitting in today, some of our staff, some of those that have sat in the podcast before, and in our open, where we love audience come and join us. So yeah. I mean, I feel great.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
So we got some tricks up our sleeves as a team. We want to honor you today, and we appreciate all that you're doing. But before we do that, I want to let you know how I felt for the last year.
Okay.
Because I would get a text message. It would be 10:52. Hey, bro, can you jump on the podcast in 8 minutes? Yeah. Hey, what are we talking about? To be determined.
yeah, exactly.
So then I run in here. Gabe, what are we talking about? I don't know. I don't know. So we're going to do that to you today. How about that?
Okay. All right,
so I want to start by saying I have a bone to pick with you.
Okay.
Let's watch this.
I'm cold, bro. I think this water's maybe like 35, 31, maybe less.
What about you, Best Aaron?
I'm frozen, but I'm good.
Hey.
Anything forgot.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to explain what happened if you didn't see the video. I'm just going to explain what happened. I want Pastor Adam's interpretation, then I'll give my interpretation. So, about 2 years ago, we had a theme called Deeper. Yeah. And that was a video of us doing a promo by saying we're going deeper. But we had scuba gear on in December.
Yeah.
And went in the water, and he said, "Oh, all your part, I just want you to memorize 4 verses of scripture, and then I want you to go underwater. It'll be super easy, super chill." So we do that, and that was just a commercial to market it. Now, what was your interpretation of that day?
Of that day, well, the interpretation of that day, number one, it was extremely cold. It was blistering cold. Second of all, what I'm aware of was I had purchased for myself a very high quality scuba suit, that would keep me warm. That's like, it was rated for Antarctica, but it had occurred to me leading up to the event that, I knew you were going to be in the video, but that I hadn't thoughtfully considered you. And so I didn't have a scuba suit for you. So I had to go on Amazon.
Yes.
And I had to, I had the next day, whatever was available. And it happened to be like something that was rated for, it was basically, it was neoprene. It was Lululemon. It was basically Lululemon, neoprene bodysuit. That's all I could get. Next day.
So here's my instructions. Memorize this scripture. We're gonna go to this beach, and I got you. I got a wetsuit for you. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You come out with a Navy SEAL wetsuit,
neon yellow joint,
and then you give me an Amazon bag, and then it had yoga pants in it. And I go in that water and I'm freezing. And then I'm like, hey, bro, how are you? He's like, I'm actually kind of cool. I mean, you're not struggling out here. I am in a yoga suit right now.
Yeah.
Looking like a Power Ranger. So I just wanted to publicly let everyone know, thank you for thinking of me. But next time, consider I'm black.
Yeah.
We don't really do water. We don't really do cold. But we'll do anything for this ministry.
Yeah. Well, and the other element of it was, we were in a corner of a beach and people go on walks early in the morning. And so everyone was pretty respectful that we were filming something. So they'd stop for a second and they'd watch us. Well, happened to be this, this little family that would be most akin of what you would stereotypically know as a Karen, So she at first is like, she's not, people would give us space.
Yeah.
She's not. Like, she's standing right next to Shelton and Alex, like looking at their camera, looking through their lens. And, so she's there for like 15 minutes because we kept messing up. Waves kept crashing on us and we were coming from underwater. So finally, she asks us, what is this for? And we said, we're filming a promo for a church. And she basically was like, this isn't a commercial. She thought we were like ABC or
She thought she was getting some time in the background.
So it was like, this isn't a commercial. We were like, no, it's for our church. She like snapped her teeth, rolled her eyes, and then just walked away.
Yeah.
And we thought, man, we should lean in with that more often when we're filming stuff. Like, hey, this is for a church. And then everybody would just walk away.
That's how we get people to be quiet in those public settings.
Exactly.
Good.
So that was funny too.
Yeah, so good. So that's some good reflection. I got 2 more videos that I want to share. And what makes me feel so good is that you have no idea what we're going to and that's how I felt all year. Like, I'd just be sitting there like, Lord, like, give me wisdom. I don't know what's going to happen. But we're going to play the next 2 videos, and then we're going to reflect on it for a moment. Let's look at the screen.
Do you confess Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior?
Yes, I do. I accept Jesus, Lord Christ, as my Lord and Savior.
Amen. Well, by your confession of faith, I now baptize you in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit in Jesus' name. You can dunk when ready.
I think we got one more.
Okay.
I would be doing is I would go on Right Now Media. I would find a great small group Bible study that I love, that I found online. So maybe there's one on finding the peace of God or fear, and maybe it's a 4-week or 6-week or whatever. And then I would put on all my social media accounts, hey, everybody, I'm going to be doing a Zoom Bible study where we're going to watch a curriculum. Because the way Zoom works is, and you could just go to zoom.com or zoom.us, you can share your screen. And so what I would do is once or twice a week, I would invite friends, religious, not religious, I'd share my screen. We would watch a 10-minute thing on Right Now Media, a devotional that we picked. And then I would then begin to engage those 4 or 5 friends that agreed to do it with me. Yeah. Even if you have one other friend, that's perfect.
Thanks, Gabe.
I like that sweater. I don't know where that sweater went. That orange ellipsy one.
So let's reflect on those 2 videos. What are some thoughts you have looking back to that? That's COVID, bro.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, I mean, well, the first one, for those that aren't watching on video on the podcast, the first one was, we didn't know how long we would be in quarantine. So people were getting saved, obviously, through video and other stuff like that. So baptism is important. So that first video was I had a 2,000-foot cable for internet, and I ran it from my my office in my house all the way to the backyard, into the jacuzzi, hooked up a computer, and then we told people that if they had recently been saved, that we would do it through Instagram and lead it through Instagram and through online and stuff like that. So I remember me and Aaron were doing that, which was fun. It was ended up becoming a one-time thing.
Yep.
But so that was that reflection I have on that one. I probably have more, and then the second one was obviously during COVID when my wife gracefully for over 3 months let us shut our house down during COVID and use every square inch of our house as filming locations for live streams. So the other video we had was our neighborhood night. So we would replace our small group since we couldn't because of COVID. And, those are right off the bat reflections.
Yes. My reflection of that, looking back to it and looking at where we're at today, is I believe some of the results that we're getting through Beyond the Letter has been your faithfulness throughout as a pastor, as a thought leader, to be intentional, to have the faith to try something new. So now as we look at the Beyond the Letter podcast with over 1.8 million views, over 46,000 downloads, viral videos on Reels. When I see that in my brother and my pastor, this is where we were at, but it was just your living room. And you were faithful in your living room. You were faithful in your backyard, and God has his hands on you. And I just want to publicly honor you for always having the faith to try something new.
Thank you.
This room for me will always be special because this was our altar call room.
Yeah.
So this was the room in 2010 where you walk down back then, you give your life to the Lord, and you come back to this room because you have questions.
Yeah.
And now 13 years later, it's the Beyond the Letter podcast studio.
Yeah.
Your faithfulness in trying something new in me, your faithfulness in trying something new in the church has garnered these results. And I just want to publicly affirm you and honor you and thank you for being the pioneer of Beyond the Letter.
Thank you so much.
You're
I
an
appreciate
awesome
it.
pioneer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, wait. We got somebody at the door. Wait a minute. We got some tricks up our sleeves. Oh, shoot.
Grandma Pauline. Grammy. Hi, Grammy. I know Corey produced this for sure.
Man, we got all kind of situations.
Yeah. I thought you were bringing Grandma out.
No.
I'm sitting like, what's Alizé?
Get to sit next to the one
Gen
and only
Z.
People's Padre.
One episode you don't control. We've promoted Alizé.
Yeah, right. She's co-hosting. I'm with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have Miss Pauline that just joined us. If you're only on audio, and we have Alizé that joined us as well.
Hello.
Welcome to the anniversary episode of Beyond the Letter.
Yay! So happy.
I just want to say something, Miss Pauline. Your hair is looking amazing.
Yes.
I just wanted to just for those that are just watching audio, just go back at YouTube and look at Miss Pauline's hair. So that's what I
It
wanted
looks
to
great.
share.
Yeah.
But yeah, Miss Pauline, anything you want to share?
Yes, first of all, thank you for inviting me. It's really an absolute honor and a pleasure to be here
Yes.
for the podcast, but then also as a grandmother to see how God has used Pastor Adam to build this podcast. And so it really makes me very proud, very happy. I'm actually very excited to see where God is going to continue to build on this whole new platform. So having said that, I wanted to also say that, when you started talking a few years ago, because that was during COVID, right? So during COVID, it was a lockdown and there was little form of communication. So Pastor Adam had already, a few years before, already pre-planned like the technology part of it. So that when the conversation came to, we're going to go online for church services, and a lot of churches were not doing that. So when they introduced that, I said, oh, what is online? I don't know these things. and we'd have some sidebar conversations, and he'd explain, it means we're going to have church on TV and all that kind of stuff. I said, oh, okay, so you don't even have to come to church. So then I thought, oh, okay, how cool is that? And so that also evolved into as podcasts, as COVID closed down, finished, and then within that, I'll say it's been about a year and a half to 2 years, that, and maybe it was even within the the COVID thing, you started talking about the new generations that were coming in. You talked about millennials, you talked about Gen Zs, you talked about alphas, and the only alpha I ever knew was the one that was the head of the dogs.
Like an alpha dog.
You have an alpha dog. You have an alpha.
Oh, Gen Alpha. Okay,
You know what I mean? And I
sure.
said, what does he mean? I had to run home and look it up, Google it, and say, what does he mean? So with that said, what was really interesting was to find out that each of the age levels he was speaking of were exactly the ages that were coming to our church. They were beginning to come in. And I can remember, and I think I've shared this with you also, Pastor Adam, that back in 2008, when the intercessors were praying and believing and asking for God to bring new young people, that those young people, a few of them began to show up then. So I knew back when COVID and everything and new generation was coming, that was the answer to prayer. That was the answer to what the intercessors were getting on their face for. And not only that, but he was positioning you for that new coming generation. So that excited me. And so then when you started mentioning all of the everything you're saying, then you started announcing a little over a year and a half ago, maybe it was 2 years, about this new podcast. I said, okay, so we're going to have podcasts. What does that mean? What is, there I go back to my Google again to find out what that all means. And then I was really excited to learn that it's a new platform, a tool for conversations, everything that would be needed. And I said, okay, as an 80-year-old woman, I could have made the decision to say, that's not for me. I really could have. I just said, that's not my reality. It's the reality for the Gen Zs, the Alphas, the Millennials, and all that kind of stuff. But I said, no, I realized many, many years ago that God had positioned me to always be around young people. From the babies to you guys.
So now, thank you for having a mic in your face, having headphones, going to Google and finding that. You're 80 years old. Alizé's 8 years old. Help us to understand. So, Alizé, from your thoughts, what are you processing being a part of this podcast where, like, all you know is this space, but you have this diverse table and you've been a part of this.
She always emphasizes it's 20, by the way.
Yeah.
She I knew she was going to do that.
Okay.
Because I always do 18 and
in my head.
it's 20. It's 20.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, though. So I remember when this podcast started, I literally was a week fresh into starting my job here, my first full-time job ever. Like, I came from Chick-fil-A.
Nice.
Pastor Adam really took a chance on me, And I remember Nancy was like, so we're working on this new podcast. Like, I would love for you to be a part of it and to help us and stuff. And I didn't really know what that meant because I was still studying the stuff that I was getting hired to work for. So I'm like, dang, I really got to buckle down here and try to figure out what I'm doing. But to just be able to not only watch the podcast grow, but grow with the podcast and start to develop different connections and be able to grow in my creative space. Like, from a year ago to now, I feel like I've learned and downloaded so much information, both on the creative space and having my hand in a bunch of projects that people double my age sometimes don't even get to start. And then also building connections with people that I never knew I would have connections with, like learning from Pastor Adam, learning from Corey, learning from Jermaine, everyone that has a hand in this podcast, and then everywhere else. It's just been a blessing to be a part of it and to watch it grow. And I'm really excited to see the future. Usually I'm behind the camera, and there's been times where I've been invited to speak. And so it's always an honor and a blessing to be able to sit on this side of it.
And I know, Pastor Adam, this has been a part of your vision to see diversity at the table. You bring the questions, we bring the conversations, not just generations talking in silos. What are you processing as you're seeing all this right now?
I mean, I think mainly what I'm processing, number one, like the heart when we started this. So originally it would always been in my heart to do a podcast, and I started and stopped many times. Like, you can even go on Spotify and see some of the shows I created, in the past 6 years or whatever. So, I had one, me and Ashley were going to start, and I did 2 versions of like more of like a leadership one and all that. So it always been kind of in me, which is where Caleb originally, when he brought up, hey, I think we should do a podcast. His like where it started, the original framework was, let's bring people on and interview them of all shapes and sizes, and have a conversation with people of all frameworks and blah blah blah. And then I thought, well, like, that's a good idea, but what people desperately want today is people want relationship, people want community. And so if we're always bringing in a new person to talk to, no one feels like they're in community, because especially if we're as hosts, if we're just asking questions every time, then like none of us feel connected to Oprah. We, you watch Oprah, she brings someone on, she interviews, you don't feel like, oh, I'm a friend of Oprah. You felt like you were a friend if you went to one of her episodes where she gave everything out for free. But outside of that, like, you didn't feel like she was your friend. And like, more than anything, as I talked with Caleb, and he had the original title name, and then I went and read 2 Corinthians. I'm like, no, I think we have to do is you have to have enough regular faces and voices that are unique and perspective and culturally different, but their voice is somewhat regular enough that the person who's watching and listening to feels like, man, my world and my community broadened today, because we live in a very lonely age. We live in a very social media enabled age, and most adult that's over 30 has maybe 1 or 2 friends, maybe, and a lot of men would say they have no friends. And so for me, the part of the win was I have guys that come up to me, and one of the best testimonies I have was a man, not young man, I mean, he's probably 33, 34. He said, I have, had kids young, all that. He said, I haven't had friends in 10 years. And he says, and I listen to Beyond the Letter, and I feel like for the first time ever, I actually have best friends. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, that was it. Like, and then you go into, and then we're here to have conversations about faith and what the real world looks like. And like, not here to tell people how to think, but open up conversation and see where God is at in every element. Like, I love what we're talking about in the sense that you have Alize, who's, when she started, she was 18 and a half or 19, 18 and a half, which I think Chelsea or someone, or Nancy was the one that actually hired you. I was probably like, whoa, we're getting someone that's 18. I'm all for Gen Z, but hold on. They come to work, right?
hey, if you're going to put blame, put it on Pastor Nathan, because he did my last interview.
Pastor Nathan did yeah. So if you don't work out, I'll go to him.
Oh, shoot.
And then I think what blew me away the most was, this is what I wasn't expecting. Okay. It wasn't in the framework. It wasn't what I thought at all. It was many people like my grandma and my grandma's sister, my Auntie Phyllis back there, who's here and watches almost every episode. And Shannon here, who's like super vocal in the comments, which I appreciate so much. And like, that threw me off in the sense of, especially like my grandma and then my dad's age, that we're coming up and we're like, man, I'm loving this conversation. I'm loving what's happening. Making requests. Hey, can you have conversation around this, or invite people on like this, which we were very open to pivoting, and how we like just listening to people and go. The biggest thing I talk to other pastors is like, every pastor feels like they have something they need, and that's in their DNA. I need to teach someone something. That's every pastor. I need to teach someone something. I need to teach them on leadership. I need to teach them on the Bible. I need to see, like, our biggest thing was like, no, we want to show them how we eat. Okay. Like how we have a relationship with God, how our convictions, and also our own life, which Caleb was always very authentic with, in the sense of where he's at in life and wrestling that in public. Like, that was really an emphasis of saying, we need to show how spiritual leaders aren't perfect, because that's what's losing the next generation, because there's such a schism between these individuals like my grandma and Pastor Diego and Auntie Phyllis, that you look and you go like, I cannot be like them. Like, they have this thing figured out,
But at the same time, when I'm thinking of it from my perspective as an 80-year-old woman, I'm thinking, what would this young, beautiful generation want to have to do with me? What do I have to offer them? Because sure, you've lived life, you've gone through all the generations, but we've lived our life, and it's been through the, whatever our age gaps are. And I'm thinking, they're into the new things, the new trends, the new this and that. So when I was invited to even come, I felt very honored that you would even want to hear from me.
It's great.
And it made me feel like, okay, you know what? Because I was reluctant. I'm not reluctant. I always wanted to learn, but I just didn't know whether or not I'd be welcomed. And then being around all the different age groups, I found that, I enjoy being it. being with you guys.
Yeah.
You guys are spontaneous. You know, you're creative. You're all so talented, so gifted. And I thought, what in the world would you guys see in me? And so that's why I am so happy that you are, you know, opening the door to allow people of, say, the boomer age and up, you know, older rather, to be here. And I hope that more people, 80 years and plus, will also be willing to invest in their time, and to invest in the young generation.
So, and I would say that Beyond the Letter has done a great job doing that. And also you, Pastor Adam, has done a great job championing others, helping others win. I was thinking about, like, hey, what's my favorite episode for the past year? And I couldn't come to one. But I had. Lean leading me, guys. Oh! Okay, we switching.
Grandma was in the middle of a profound thought. Swapperoo.
Sorry, guys. We just came in for fun.
We'll do part 2. Oh, shoot. Did you guys adjust Sanaz's microphone by chance? This might be an episode people want to go to YouTube and watch. You know, heads up.
You have to. You got to watch this. So, hey,
my little child right here, Camille.
Yeah.
Hey, guys. Hey.
So we have Camille at the table. We have Sanaz at the table.
You've been on this, right?
Yeah.
The one with Caleb that I wasn't here, right?
Yeah. Did
right.
you actually watch that episode?
I did.
No.
Yeah. No.
Oh, you did it? Don't say he did it. I did. I was there.
Well, you were.
No,
in
I
it.
did. I didn't watch it. I listened to it. Here's what people don't know. And well, I think kind of, but I consume probably 30 hours a week of other podcasts. So for me to listen to our podcast is like easy. I could do that getting dressed in the morning, in one morning. You know, I'll listen to one. I don't listen to one that I know were just heavy on me and Caleb. But like if I wasn't there or I was there and we had like this latest one with Pastor Kenny, like I'm re-listening to that one because he dropped so
that
many
was really
wisdom
rich.
bombs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I listen to our content all the time. So I listened to that one with Alize, who wasn't a Gen Zer on the podcast when they did that one. She was so like anti-Gen Z, like, you know what Gen Z is, you know, like, which is so Gen Z.
So
you know?
Gen Z. It's so Gen Z to not be Gen Z. Exactly.
So Gabe, I think it'll be appropriate. Let's play one of the clips from Camille. And let's reflect on it.
So this is a little story. So when I was taking the bus to school, there was a guy behind my house who got murdered. Literally. Okay. I don't know what happened to him. We don't know. It was on the news. But I know this sounds crazy. I literally saw this guy's dead body. And
what?
No.
Wow.
And so you want to know what, so that we had to talk to this counselor at school. Crazy stuff, right? And I told the counselor, I was like, yeah, it's just like SVU. And she was like, no, it's not. And I'm like, yeah, it is. I see those all the time. And she's like, no, but that's an actual person. I'm like, so are the people in SVU.
Right.
Like, they're fake people. Like, they're acting dead. But it's like, in reality, I mean, that was like when I was 12, so it doesn't really affect me now. But it's like, if that's not a testament to how desensitized we are, like, it's like, oh, I see it on TV. Oh, I see it on TikTok. I see it all the time. It doesn't really matter because I've seen it so much that it's just like, okay, whatever. Oh, guys, the best clip.
That was a great clip. Great clip talking about dead bodies. It's great.
Thanks, guys.
I want to say something, and then I want to hear our thoughts about it. Did you guys see Alize's response? Hey, if you're listening, you got to watch it on YouTube. Alize, and now that I know the context, Alize was probably 2 weeks into her job.
Exactly.
And then hearing about that story, I wish
She's
the camera
thinking,
would
what
have
am I
panned
doing
back
here?
to her when she said,
She's like, I should go back to Chick-fil-A.
Maybe this isn't for me anymore.
Yeah. So what do we think about that video?
Well, here's what I know about that video. That was one of the first videos that ever got a good amount of traction.
Hey.
Thanks, guys.
First and last.
You got to say something really profound today. And then we'll cut it up.
Pull out your
need a
inner
double
Miss
dip.
Pauline.
You got
Say
any other
something really
stories?
profound.
Yeah, we don't re-invite people back who don't go viral. So you got one more chance to double dip. If not,
I'm stressed out now. I'm like, I don't know if I'm that profound, guys.
Where do we know how many views was that?
That's pretty,
okay.
that's
It was
great.
something-
It's great for a new
It was
podcast
like-
to have.
I'm
Well,
taking the 14K.
I think it was more. It might have been more than that, but it was the first video that like we were consistently getting 200 views or 500 views, and the whole page started from scratch. So it was like most video, if it went past 1,000, it was like, oh, that was a good video. And so yours went like past 10K, and it was like, oh yeah,
We on the map.
yeah, we on the map, we doing it, So that was the immediate thing that I remember about that video, because it was relatively early on that we saw like, oh wow, okay. And then it also reassured for us the vision, which was like me and Caleb's. It really wasn't our desire to be the stars of the show. So it just consistently reassured to us that, oh wow, like, because no other podcast really does that. No other podcast has people that aren't famous or have big platforms and give them a space to share and talk. And what we wanted to do was not necessarily elevate the person who's speaking, but exhibit, like, go have these conversations with people, like, in the sense of like, if you have a grandmother, like, go to lunch with your grandmother, because your grandmother may have wisdom like my grandmother has, that may shock you, or some other type of elder spokesman in your life. In the same way, I think it would also garner respect from an older generation to say, wow, man, there are more young people than I thought that carry either wisdom, or in Camille's sense, an awareness of like how desensitized she's become, and going like, oh, I think that is a problem. I should probably do something about that. And then I think, because that's what we have to do, is like build generational bridges nowadays, which is, it goes into sermon, but that's the reason why it's Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. They're all working in tandem. That's the reason why the prophecy is your sons will prophesy, your daughter, and dream dreams. It's generational, that when everyone in each generation is working in effect together, you could do the most damage. And so the average church in America right now is pretty estranged generationally. Older people don't want to rock with younger people don't want to rock with older people, and so there's a big schism. So my immediate thing about that was like how cool it was. It's like, oh, is one of our youngins who came in, who's at the church. She's not on staff. Camille's not on staff or anything like that. She's in college. So it's just, yeah, that was like really encouraging, because it happened really early on, that you get reassured to go like, okay, we're doing the right thing. So yeah, that's my immediate thoughts from that video. It was the most encouraging thing.
Well, it looks like we got more people. Looks like you guys are out. So, shoot.
I'm hanging out for a little bit.
Shoot.
Guys, I can take the
Oh my God,
What's
Sinai.
Hey.
Yo!
House party. I'm like, hey, what's up?
What's up, everybody?
Get it dabbed up.
What's up? Jeff Osborne in the house.
What's going on, man?
This feels good right now.
One of my besties.
Whoa. What's up, brother?
What's up, bro?
Man, we in the neighborhood. I'm here beyond the letters. What's poppin',
We are
man?
beyond the letter. What's up, bro?
Hey, you been surprised all day today?
I've been surprised all day today. Yeah. I'm worried about who's going to be next.
Hey, look, I got nervous the first time. Like, when I got the notice, like, yo, you going back on. I said, oh, shoot, I got to prepare. That first episode, I watched that episode like 50 times. Like, dang it, Jay, like, you should have been ready for that.
You said they better not do another black episode with me.
I thought y'all going to figure out, like, having me count the pigmentation of the African Americans on the third continent.
Let me be 100. After that episode, I said, I gotta do my ancestry.com. I gotta get on this.
Bruh, what did you find out, Aaron?
I'm Nigerian.
You're Nigerian.
27% Nigerian.
Welcome to the family, bro.
Hey, but here's the trip. After I had the episode, I went and did my checkup. I'm 27% Ghanaian.
What?
And
From Ghana?
Yeah, I didn't even know.
See,
Like-
we're changing lives out here, bro. Getting people ancestral roots over here.
Hey, I felt like y'all should have had Cornell West on my episode. The way y'all was asking me questions, like,
Turn
yo,
here. This
yeah.
was your great-great-grandfather.
Oh, bro, y'all jacked me up. Like, I was like, man. But, I'm here, man, a whole year.
A whole year. Where were you, like our third episode, fourth
I was like
episode,
third
maybe?
episode
Third
in.
episode?
So that
50
which is
episodes
crazy
ago. Yeah.
because on YouTube it has over 500,000 views. So talking about being on the map, So tell me what you were processing when they were like, what does it mean to be black? Speak on behalf of African Americans.
Yeah, like what's the solution to black on black crime? Like,
today we're going to talk to you about the Israel and Palestinian conflict.
Hey, Jeff. Honestly,
we need a clip on that.
So honestly, when I was watching, I was like, thank God I didn't get the text message. I was like, that's for my guy right here.
No, what nobody knows is that everything they prepared me for the show. It was none of it. Yo, bro, here's the treatment. This is where we're gonna go. These are the videos. So I planned out my questions. I planned my dramatic pause.
Yeah.
And you know what I feel? And then they hit me with some completely. I'm trying to go back to my phone, like, like,
from what I remember, it was Nadia, your wife, got mad at you. Like, you said what?
Oh,
you
my
had to
God.
talk about what?
She ate me alive. Like, and then you asked me about black Israelites, and I'm trying to figure out what it means for me to be black. You asked me about everybody. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Gabe, do we have any clips from that episode? Let's see if we have any clips from that episode.
Bad.
When you look at Kanye and you look at the clips, he was like, yo, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of the Jewish people that they take care of their people the way that they do. I'm jealous that they establish things generationally for their kids. As a black man, he was referring to, I'm jealous that they have things set up and they've got power positions. And we as our own people have been so used to this survival mode that we think that if somebody else becomes successful, it comes at my detriment. So we began to do it with Black Wall Street. We began to make our own money. We became successful. I'm talking a whole entire ecosystem like what Kanye was talking about in Oklahoma. It was in Oklahoma. It was called Black Wall Street is what it was called. Right. We had banks. We had money. We had wealth. We created our own aristocracy, if you will. And this is after the slave movement. We began to rebuild, to which at that time the whites got upset about it and burned it down.
Sounds smart right there. Y'all took the best clip. I was like, bro. Hey, that's another thing. Y'all had me. Nadia said one thing. I promised her. I'm in the car. She says, babe, whatever you do, don't touch Kanye. Hey, Jeff, what do you think about the Kanye situation? Caleb's wearing a Jesus shirt.
He's wearing a Jesus is King sweater.
Like,
just a troll.
You can't even. Oh, y'all set me up so bad.
Hey, you had the pauses, you had the reflections, you looked away, you had your cadence. Yeah. Was that a wife beater?
Yeah, I think it was a little.
White beater,
I was showing a
jean
little
jacket.
taco meat right there, like on the chest.
He's been watching Rich Rogerson Jr. too much.
Hey, but after I left, man, I was like, so here's what I do. So y'all know this. When I feel, you call me out on it. When I feel backed up into the wall, I kind of get like really, just excited, right? So I was like, look, so what happened was, and he said, hold on, bro, we just having a conversation. You ain't preaching here. This is a podcast. And I was like, well, shoot, man, I didn't know how to do it, so I just went into motivation mode. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
just start doing positivity.
Oh my God, dude, y'all set me up so bad. So when I got the text from Chelsea, he said, "Hey, bro, we doing our 100th episode." Or our 1 year episode,
you prophesying right now.
Yeah, exactly. There it is in the camera, right? Yeah. I was like, at first, I hesitated. It took me like 10 minutes.
Yeah, you're like, what are they going to talk about?
Because I ain't been on social media for a while. I've been like not on the news. So I'm like, man, they're going to ask me something so sideways right now. So first thing I asked, I said, is Caleb here? He don't care
Caleb's the troll.
Bro, he don't care about being canceled. He don't, he's like, cancel me.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, Adam is a pastor. He got his church. Caleb on staff. Everybody here got a job. If I say something wrong, all my coaching clients, all of my speaking engagements, I'm done.
Gone.
So I'm trying to map out my words, and I leave and I say this, God, I gave it my best. You know my heart. I said that. You know my heart.
Lord, you know my heart. You know my heart, Lord.
I said, David, Lord, search my heart. If there's anything in me that could be cancelable, I don't even know if that's a word. Remove it from it. And so you're like, oh, don't worry about it. Corey's gonna edit it out. Don't worry about it. The first thing on the promo, Jesus, and what?
Yeah. That's on the title of the podcast. But here is what's crazy is that early episode was about Kyrie Irving because that was the whole episode. It was Kanye West. It was Kyrie Irving. It was all that kind of stuff like that. What we would have known is almost a year later, Kyrie actually reposted our podcast, one of our clips, about 2 months ago.
Didn't know that.
He posted Will Chung, who's been on the show before, and Will's thing. Kyrie posted it on his stories, and on top of that, a few weeks later, his wife came to our church for a women's night. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just insane. And she loved it from what I heard. It's like she loved the women's night because who does he play for now in Texas or in Dallas?
Once he left my Celtics, I don't even care anymore.
Yeah,
I'm a little bitter.
Wherever he went, but they have a house here in LA, and so they do the off season is here in LA. So she came and loved it. I don't know if she even correlated that her husband posted the podcast and all that kind of stuff like that. But to me, it was just wild to think like a year ago we were talking about him. And then not even a year later, he's engaging with our content without him even knowing. And then his wife comes to our church, for a women's night, which Sanaz preached at and tore it down and said she loved it,
Hello.
That to me is like crazy,
So Camille and Jeff, you guys have been at the table contributing to the podcast. Share some reflections on how, in consuming the content from the podcast, how it's helped you over the last year.
Yeah. So I'm going to be super honest. I hate podcasts.
Tell me more about that.
I was like, before this, I could never listen to podcasts. I just didn't have the attention span for it. But now I drive to school like an hour every single day. So all I have to do is like, rather than like listen to music or something, I'd rather like fill myself up with something I know is going to like not only help my heart, but also like expand my mind. And it's been really interesting for me to like hear what our church stands for in lots of different sections and hear it from so many different people. Because, like, you go to church and you say hi and you have a little conversation, but, like, you're able to hear, like, when someone has these specific questions that they have to answer, you're able to learn a little bit more about, like, who they are as a person. And for me, it's been really interesting to see people I looked up to growing up as a kid, because, I mean, I've been here since birth. Literally since I was born.
You're trying to get that profound statement?
Yeah, she's looking to get it.
I want another 20K views, guys. It's 20K, not 14K. 20K, guys.
Hello.
I'm like, give me my credit.
Hello.
Excuse me, thank you. I'm like, dang, now I really have to work for this. Dang it. I'm like, please put me on again, guys. Please.
Put me back. But I'm gonna let you continue. But Camille, I've known her whole life, but I've really known her since she was about 6 years old.
Okay.
I was one of her children's pastors, and here because we've been at this property now 16 years or something like that. You're 21 now?
I'm turning 21 in 2 weeks.
Oh, in 2 weeks.
I'm still
you're
20,
turning
guys.
21. And so I really was like teaching your classes when you were in the first grade.
Yeah.
Which is my son now is in kindergarten, gonna be in the first grade next year. So I've known Camille to at the age that my son is at right now. And one of the things Camille used to do is we would be out in the courtyard and she would come and she would jump on my back and we'd play backpack, where she'd jump on my back, she'd put her arms over my shoulders, and she'd wrap her legs around me, and then I'd name something that I needed from the backpack, and she'd pull it. So I'd say, "Oh, I need a pencil," and she'd reach in she'd be on my back, reach in imaginary air, and she'd give me the pencil. "Oh, you gave me a broken pencil.
We need to sharpen it," and I put my finger up his nose.
She'd put her finger up in my nose while she's over my back, and it would be like
the sound effect.
Yeah, we did. I mean, it was full Bluey vibes and everything, like. I'd be a racer or whatever, and then she'd jump down. And so then every Sunday when I see her, she'd be like, let's play back. It was like the same routine every time. Pencil, sharpener.
Nose all raw?
Yeah.
I got in there. I was going ham.
I couldn't think of what else I needed from the backpack that would like make noise. So it was always a pencil every week, you know.
Yeah,
but she just kept wanting to do it over and over and over again.
I was 6.
I know, yeah. Which was a blast. But then now she's going to be 21 in 2 weeks. Wow. So I've known her that long.
Yeah. I'm like, guys, that was proof. I didn't lie to you. I've been here that long. And also, like, now I teach here. I teach third.
You teaching a bunch of kids now, which is crazy.
It's the same thing, and it's been really interesting for me to now see like people that were my teachers and now teach their kids. It like makes me feel a little. I'm like, first time in my life I've ever felt old was like, I'm like, wait. So like I actually grew up, which I don't like, but that's for whatever. But it's been really interesting just to like see our church grow from so many different stages, and like totally credit to you, like as someone who's seen church and like abundant living in every single stage, just to see where you're taking it and how you're growing it. It makes me more excited for the future. Excited for me to bring my family here in the future, you know, when I finally get married.
Finally. You'll be 21.
The agony. When that happens, you know what I mean? Like this is a place where my family's gonna go, because I know that this is a place where kids are gonna be poured into, and like in every stage of their life they're poured into, they're pushed forward, and it's not just like surface level, but it's actually like that intentional relationship. And that this podcast has opened my eyes to like, you know, more people that I want to have intentional conversations with, just because I hear what they say. It's not just like these surface level like, hey, how are you, like how are your kids kind of conversations. Like no, like I know that you're avidly pursuing the Lord with your heart, and like you're willing to have deep, meaningful conversations. And I know I'm just 20, but like, you know, that makes me more excited for my future, and also to like build intentional connections through here. So good.
Thank you, Camille.
You're welcome.
Thank you, backpack.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Finger in the nose.
I'm like, yeah, but this is fun.
Thank you, Camille.
You're welcome.
I love that. Man, what's crazy is how you think about it and you reflect it. And I've been here since I was 13, and I'm going to be 21 in 2 weeks.
Damn, oh my gosh, twins, happy birthday!
Backpack. No, I'm just kidding.
You a grown 21-year-old.
Nah, man, you know what? I think if I had to culminate everything, not only the episode that I was in, but also watching the podcast, it's funny, me being an identity coach, what you helped me overcome, and even watching it's the craziest thing, is that last stigma of people pleasing and this fear of being canceled and this idea that says that just because I'm stepping up or I'm talking truth, just because somebody cancels me doesn't mean that their cancel is valid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and so when I would watch every single episode, even when Ash, she did her episode and she was talking about women and talking about marriage, and I said, oh, I'm watching the episode. I'm like, ooh.
How they say what they say.
I was just like, just the confidence that comes from knowing that you're doing what God has asked you to do, it gives you a boldness to step into that space and say what needs to be said. And so when you ask me, how did it affect me? How did it actually remove this fear of being canceled from clients, from companies and organizations because of who I deal with. And so if I'm going to stand on what I'm going to stand on and it's truth, I know that God is going to validate that and elevate that. And this podcast has been proof of that.
100%.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Love you, man.
Love you, big dog. Come on.
My boy.
Hey, what's up, BTL family and Adam? I'm just hopping on here to tell you guys congratulations on 52 weeks, 1 year of Beyond the Letter. It's been such a joy and a privilege, and also so much fun jumping on with you guys a couple times this past year. I had to say, my favorite moment being on the podcast, honestly, it was just chopping it up with the homies, man. With you, Adam, Sammy, and Caleb, just having fun, but also talking about deep issues. But let's be real now. My favorite moment is when y'all made me viral. I'm talking about y'all made me like Kyrie Irving viral. You know what I'm saying? That was crazy, man. I love y'all so much. I can't wait to come back on with y'all. Congratulations. I hope you guys enjoy this monumental celebration of making it to 1 year on this pod. Congrats, man.
Hi, Pastor Adam and team from Beyond the Letter. I just wanted to say congratulations. Happy 1 year anniversary. One of the most special things for me of being on Beyond the Letter was honestly when you guys made me cry. And I think it was because it was just so raw. And I had thought that nobody wanted to hear about child trafficking anymore. It's so many people. It was just such a hard topic for people to listen to or hear that this was still happening to children. But you guys just busted the lid right open and you went full-fledged and really gave a door and gave an opportunity and just really let people know what was going on in a real and raw way. And then another thing is when you asked me, how do you feel about this? And, people actually making money from it or different things. And it really caused me to really, I thought it was something that I had already dealt with. And then all of a sudden I started to cry and was like, oh, where was that? And I just love how Beyond the Letter has done that. It's challenged us. It's sharpened us. It's opened our minds. It's opened our worlds. It's expanded our lives, expanded our hearts, and made our hearts bigger. And so I just wanted to say congratulations. Love you guys. You guys are doing an incredible work. And I can't wait to see what the next year holds. Bless you. Bye.
Man. Very nice. Is the audio? Are you guys able to hear this? No. Okay. God bless you guys. It's very beautiful. Did you guys catch that?
I saw something like,
Y'all
lying?
Then Corey probably told them to do that ahead of time. When the video's playing, just
the
knock.
cue cards like,
you got to knock.
That means y'all got it.
Let's goody. It's just me. Sorry. No, nothing special. But I am representing those people that listen and watch. So we have a few comments from them. So we just want to thank you, whether you've been with us the whole year or whether you just chimed in last week. This is what we have right here. So Lucy, she said, I've grown in knowledge and have had questions answered. Great perspectives. Reese said, I just started listening recently and can't stop. I'm learning so much from the conversations. We have Royal_Jade1. She said, honestly, it's made me a better Christian, knowing how to have healthy conversations. We have another listener that said, I've learned more about useful tools and skills for life in this 1 year than I have my whole life. Somebody else said, Miss Fabulous 77, who's a faithful listener, said, learning so much, relationship with God, relationship with my spouse and my kids. Thinking Bubbles said, opened up conversations for my husband and I. It's nice to hear different perspectives. And then this last one here, he said, it's definitely the episode about mental health. And overcoming trauma. I thank God I listened to that, because if it wasn't for that episode, I would have never known the church offers therapy. And I've been doing so much better mentally since that. So that is people from online and people that watch. Thank you so much. We also have lovely guests here in the live audience. If you guys want to come up, they're going to share how the podcast has impacted them.
Awesome.
So come on up.
He got that little poke. He got that marriage poke. Get up right now. Let's go. All right. Do we have a camera on that?
Alexandria Garcia.
Oh, over there.
This has actually been 1 year since we've actually been coming to Abundant.
Oh my goodness!
Yay!
1 year podcast, 1 year at the church.
I know,
Absolutely.
It's so awesome. And then the podcast starting at the same time, it was just really a way to learn a lot more about our faith, to learn about a lot more about just everything, hearing everyone's perspective. Everything that Camille said, I want to just say, that's all I wanted to say. Cause that's literally what I wanted to say, because it's exactly true. And being able to serve as well is just awesome. So that's all.
Oh, thank you.
So actually kind of touching back on something you had said earlier, I had it written down. So this podcast has affected me on a personal level by hearing how you guys also deal with your own struggles that you've dealt with, and like in Pastor Caleb's case, are still dealing with, because when you're on stage, it seems like you guys got it all figured out, like you guys are perfect. But after hearing you guys speak candidly on this podcast, I kind of see that we're all kind of fallible and we all have our own struggles. And so, it just makes me feel like my faith and my discipline can be as good as yours, because you guys are just regular people like I am, you know. And so, because when I first started coming here, I was just like, like how you said earlier, like I could never be like these people, you know.
Yeah.
But then after hearing you guys talk, and like I was just like, okay, like they're just regular people dealing with stuff, but you know, you guys have exercised like your disciplines to the point where you're in a good place, and so I'm just kind of, you know, it just kind of made me realize that, and it was very inspirational in that sense.
Yeah.
For me.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Absolutely.
Thanks for the talk the other day too. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hello.
Auntie Phyllis.
I'm
this is
Phyllis
my
Carr.
dad's aunt.
I am, yes. Well, my thing, I kept thinking at first when Pauline invited me, I went, oh, I'm not talking. I don't want to get up there and talk. But listening to everybody now, I could, because I'm 75, so I'm 5 years younger than her.
Little sister.
Yeah.
Little
I'm the
sister.
little sister, and I have one little brother. But the thing is, the generation I grew up in, it was like, children are seen and not heard. That's what you have all the time. So you never really were taught, and I'm not blaming parents because they grew up that same way. You didn't have that communication. You didn't communicate with your parents, and you just fought with your brothers and sisters. That's what you did. That was your communication. So watching all of you young people from all different ages, at first I'm like, Pauline, what is a podcast? I don't know what that is. So finally, when I did chime in, I was just really, at first, I was like, this isn't for me. They're going to talk about all this young stuff, young people that I don't even know who they are, and you talk about football and whatever. But I did it, and whatever, football or basketball,
That's
or
the last
I never,
thing you would talk
you know what I mean? I don't watch sports, so.
Yeah. Neither do I.
Just gymnastics, something like that. But anyways, I was watching it. I did it because of the fact that it's my nephew.
Okay.
So I said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to support him, just like I supported Diego, Pastor Diego, when he started the church. So as I'm watching, I realize that you guys have something that you're starting that we as a generation didn't have.
Okay.
So I just am able to, maybe I don't agree with everything, because I always think, boy, they got some years to learn a few things, but I still able to see how what your perspective is, how you think, because as we were, like we said, we weren't allowed to talk, give our opinion. If it was, it's with your friends and stuff, and it's the blind leading the blind when you do it that way. So I've learned quite a bit. I'm still trying to figure out certain things, but it's helped me to be able to communicate with younger people, especially since we are great grandparents now. We're not just grandparents, we're great grandparents. So now that I have a 13-year-old that's going through stuff that I'm like, what in the world? I said, the aliens abducted you? What did they do with my granddaughter? You know, So it's able to give me that perspective of what you guys have to face in this world today. We didn't have to face when we were growing up. So I thank you, and I know you guys are. And another thing, we started 20 years ago praying because we knew that it was going to take a time where we're going to have to hand over the baton, and the baton has to go to the younger generation. So you guys are doing great, and God bless you all.
Thanks, Auntie Bill. Wow. Awesome.
Dude, this is...
Yeah, they did the whole show.
So you had nothing to do with it.
No, I don't know what they did. Yeah,
so you they mic'd you up, you sat down.
Yeah. I'm just here.
See, I mean,
here we go. We got a few last things for you, Pastor Adam. I'm gonna let Jermaine take it away.
Well, we all know Pastor Adam's one of the hardest people to gift for. So we're capitalizing on an interest of his. He loves to recreationally shoot.
Yep.
And so we got you a target that you can shoot at. Go get after it. And some of the cast, all the cast has shared some thank yous. So don't shoot that side. It's a little awkward. So yeah, we're going to present this gift to you now.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Look how heavy that is. That metal. Jermaine's struggling with this thing. Hey, I love it. Yeah, put it there. Thank you guys so much. That's incredible. Thank you.
And then I also want to speak from the heart how this podcast has absolutely just impacted not just my life.
good. Well,
oh my gosh! Whoa!
This is fire.
Look at that.
If you're not watching, we just brought in a Beyond the Letter cake, so you guys might want to go on YouTube. But Pastor Adam, the table, we want to say we love you on behalf of the staff, on behalf of the team. We want to say happy 1 year
Thank you guys so much. It's incredible. Are you kidding me? Wow. The People's Padres in the front.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you guys. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing.
That's next level.
Everyone who knows me knows I'm not good with this stuff. So thank you guys so much. I like being on the other side of the coin. So being in control, doing all the giftings is amazing. Thank you. That's incredible.
Speech.
Well,
How are you feeling? How are you feeling in this moment?
Well, let me say, before I say how I'm feeling, few recognitions, and I do want to say a few thank yous. Thank you to Caleb, who I love so much, who I'm sure will watch this. And so it was definitely a team effort from the beginning, and I'm glad that he's doing what he knows that he needs to do right now in his heart. And so I appreciate him so much for originally having this concept and then, allowing me to run with it and build it out from his initial heart, which was to hear from people and to break down the stigma of our relationship with Christ. And I know oftentimes people want us to die on hills or bring up conversations that to me they would just be too divisive in the moment. And to Caleb too. For Caleb, he was known as one that expressed a lot of emotion or even criticism, but it was always an intentional, it was our heart to actually divide people. And so, I'm really thankful that he's been a part of the process and was a part of that. And so that needs to be said, in the sense that it wasn't all just me, and I know he was gonna be here anyway. That was part of the plan originally too. So there's that, and then also to Pastor Diego, is an incredible leader, who's my dad, who has been on this many times, who, I may be coming into leadership now in his position, but historically, all the things we talked about from what we did in COVID and everything like that, he was the leader in charge so for him, because these concepts at first are really ludicrous. They're even when we would sit down with our team and we started building this podcast, if everybody were honest, everybody was just kind of like, what the heck is that? It's going to be more work, more stuff, and then to see when something comes out, you say, wow, man, look how many people this has affected. Look how many people this has reached. On the back end, hindsight 2020, you go, oh, it's all worth it. And da-da-da. But when you're in the meetings on the front end and everyone's, well, who's doing what and who's doing, it's that sense of that was always Pastor Diego, in the sense of if it's going to reach people, let's do it. And he's always been open-handed. And so he established that culture here at our church, and that bled into this podcast, which was our new version of television, because he used to be on TV. And so this was this is going to be our next version, because it was always in his heart as a baby boomer to reach the next generation. And he thoroughly believed that it wasn't going to be his voice to do that, because he understood the generational gap that's there. And so just having an incredible open-handed leader, it just makes all the difference. And a great leader who will cover you. And so that's just my aspiration, is that this platform would continue to sprinkle an avalanche into more spaces. I have had more conversation with pastors who are inspired to have conversations like these in their own element. I mean, there are 8 billion people on the planet. This podcast is not going to reach all 8 billion people. But if collectively enough leaders, not just pastors, but people just say, I'm going to start having conversations like those guys, where no one leaves the table crying, angry, thrown at someone, wanting to cut them off or whatever. I can do that in my own life. And that's all we've ever wanted to set expectation to. That's all we've ever wanted to poke conversation up, is to provoke people to talk in the comments. And so, you know, I'm very thankful for how much this has impacted people, how much people care about this and have cared about this. And originally our team made a commitment to do this for 3 years. That was the commitment. And obviously I believe it'll go longer than that. And so I was just watching a Joe Rogan episode the other day, and he was on episode 1037. We're on episode 52. Put that in perspective. Or 53, I think, is this episode. Yeah. But like, I looked at that and I was inspired. I was like, wow, like, imagine going 1037 episodes. Yeah. You know, like, imagine enough Christian leaders having enough broad conversations. That go into the thousands, where people, young people, people of all shapes and sizes, people new to their faith, can dive in and engage in their faith to where they're at and grow in their faith where they're at. So, I mean, it's incredible.
That is incredible. And I just want to say, I want to honor your wife, Ashley.
Yes.
Because without her as support, and her voice on Beyond I Do as well, she provides a great impact to the ministry. Yeah. Those things that we reflected on was her house. When we were baptized, she was the one that told us about the bobcat. Then we had to run.
There's a bobcat in the backyard.
Ashley, thank you so much for your leadership, for your support, and for the voice that you have on Beyond I Do as well.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing, when people ask me, like, how do we all do what we do? Because when people really survey, you know, you're preaching sermons, you're obviously meeting with teams and staff, and then now doing 2 podcasts a week, which ultimately is my goal, to get to 4 to 5 podcasts a week eventually one day. You're like, how do you have the time and the space for that, and allowance and all that stuff like that? Really, it's like, I just tell other people, like, I have a wife that just believes in me, believes in us, loves her church she goes to, believes in the people at her church. Like, she doesn't think that anyone's a burden. She loves this as much as I love this. She tells me at home, like, I believe you have a voice. I believe you're meant to do things and impact the world. And like, I'm leaving here today to go to a pastor's retreat to speak to pastors. And so I have a wife that goes, okay, you know, I was gone 2 weeks ago for 3 days. I'm going to be gone today for 2 days. And she goes, no, you need to be doing that. That's where the Lord's called you and led you. And so I'm thankful I have a wife that believes in that, than rather makes me feel like it's a contentious gifting where, like, oh, I love the Lord, I'm called to the Lord, but then there's my wife and she don't really like what I do, and she doesn't really like, you know, I'm so blessed that I have that going for me in my relationship with her. So I appreciate it.
Well, there you have it, the anniversary episode of Beyond the Letter. Yay! Thank you to our live audience. Thank you to the Beyond the Letter team. Thank you, Pastor Adam. Thank you, Caleb. God bless you.
Yeah.
We out.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Whoa.